Welcome to Beef Sticks Podcast, and folks, let me tell you, we are gentlemen here, so before next week's Wargasm, we're going to treat you to a little warplay.
Just a little. Get you nice and stimulated for the events to come this weekend.
Yes, and we're hoping it's going to be a fun WarGames. There's a good lineup ahead of us, and we're going to get to that towards the end of the show, folks. So if you want to hear our predictions and our reactions to the upcoming WarGames 2020, stay tuned to the end of the show. We've got all that for you and more. And Paystee, it's been a very exciting, newsworthy week, at least right here towards the end of the week, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I will definitely say so. This week has done something for me and making me feel good to be and proud to be a wrestling fan after this Wednesday's Dynamite, of course.
Very much so.
And then I look at the lineup they have on SmackDown tonight and laugh. It's Kevin Owens and Otis taking on Roman Reigns and Jey Uso in the main event. Woo.
But I guess that should bring us into the top of the show. I guess we can get right into it because that is kind of the big news of this week. You want to start us off here, Paystee?
Yeah, I can do that. Of course, folks, during this week's AEW Dynamite, Winter is Coming. The show ended with Kenny Omega defeating Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Omega was assisted by Impact Wrestling executive Don Callis. Following his bout, Callis announced that Omega would be headed to Impact this coming Tuesday to discuss the title win.
Yes, Paystee, and some news has come out since then, at least some speculated news. According to Wrestling Inc., the relationship between Impact and AEW is not currently scheduled to be very intertwined. It said that Omega's appearance on Impact will be a one-off and was largely done as a favor from Omega to Don Callis, who is a good friend of Kenny Omega's. Omega also requested that Don work as the commentator for his big title win over Jon Moxley.
I gotta say they booked that smart too, since Don Callis was there the previous week too, or no, it was at the pay-per-view to watch the match between him and Hangman Page. But either way, I think that was good because otherwise
it didn't send off red flags.
It would have been a dead giveaway had he just been there for this show.
Right.
Tony Khan apparently liked the idea and he signed off on it. Beyond Omega making a one-off appearance on Impact, it is also rumored that the Good Brothers will be coming to AEW for one match as well. Omega's appearance on Impact this Tuesday will likely be used to set up the brothers coming to AEW to take on a team that has not yet disclosed Young Bucks. I mean, what else would that be for?
Yeah.
However, yeah, the Young Bucks. It's gotta be.
It's gotta be.
They're going for Top Flight. That would be awesome. It's just not time yet.
FTR would be cool, to be honest.
Hell yeah, it would. Although if FTR and the Good Brothers teamed up, that'd be better.
Ooh, that would be. Well, furthermore news, Don Callis' contract with Impact Wrestling may be coming up next month, Paystee. Once Callis is done with Impact, he could move to AEW full-time to work as Omega's on-screen manager and in a backstage capacity as well.
You know, I've never seen Don Callis much in wrestling, to my knowledge. I mean, I have, but until now, he's never really been a management figure, on screen to me. So I'm interested to see what that could be and if he can be on par with, a Paul Heyman.
Well, in the Attitude Era of WWE, he was the Jackal. He was the head of the Truth Commission with Kurgan and all of them guys that sucked. And he did that for quite a while. And then he was Cyrus the Virus on ECW TV and ended up becoming the mouthpiece for the quote unquote the network. He was the kind of the villainous man in charge. He was that Vince McMahon or Eric Bischoff, the authority figure.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done actually a lot of that in his time, as well as working backstage. So I think it would be really good. I think it would work out well. He's great on screen. He's great behind the desk and behind the mic, as we've seen in New Japan, as he commentated in New Japan's American show that came out, and also obviously in Impact Wrestling.
Mm-hmm. No, I like what he did. I like exactly what they did. Like bit for bit, I think it was pretty perfect. The match itself wasn't what we were anticipating, but I think to get this over, that's fair. We'll have our good Omega Moxley match somewhere down the line, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I would assume they have more than one match left.
Not to say that this was a bad match. There was so many fucking hard high spots, or not really high spots, but crazy spots. So many V triggers.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was awesome that it took was it 4 or 5 V triggers and then a one-winged angel? I think it was 4.
It was 4 and 1.
4 V triggers and a one-winged angel. So it didn't make Moxley, it didn't make him look weak at all.
No, definitely not. I couldn't take 4 V triggers and get back up.
No.
I gotta say, I like the spot where Mox brought the chairs in and had the gentlemen sit down. Just we're gonna hit each other in the face for a little bit. Although they probably should have started the match that way. Or
yeah,
something. I felt it was too close to the climax. It really slowed the match down for a minute, and that felt weird.
Right. It's a very New Japan sort of thing to do, so I have a feeling Moxley kind of set that one up. But yeah, I always enjoy when they do that. Just lay it in. Just lay it in.
That's not all that's great on Dynamite from this week, but we're going to talk about the rest a little bit more later.
Yes, of course we will, because right now, Paystee, we need to get into this week in pro wrestling history, and this is a really fun one. Paystee, it was December 5th, 1991, we saw the end of an era. And we're not talking about something like Pat Patterson passing away or The Undertaker retiring. No, this was when the Super Mario Brothers Super Show aired its final new episode. You see, in 1989, Nintendo capitalized on the success of its mega-hit video game by creating a TV show for Mario and Luigi. What resulted was 52 episodes of an odd but beloved to this day series that blended live action and animation. So what does this have to do with wrestling?
If you don't know, stop listening now.
Of course, because
I'm kidding.
because the series starred pro wrestler, manager, and WWE Hall of Famer Captain Lou Albano as the titular hero. The program was always equipped with 80s-era guests such as Albano's music video star Cyndi Lauper, Nicole Eggert, Danica McKellar, Ernie Hudson of Ghostbusters fame, Elvira, Patrick Dempsey in one of his very first roles, Maurice LaMarche, Vanna White, Magic Johnson twice, and fellow WWE Hall of Famers G.I. Joe himself, Sergeant Slaughter, and the rowdy Scotsman Roddy Piper. Sandwiched between these shorts were laugh track live-action segments shot on fake stereotypical Brooklyn set that was an anime. In between that was an animated version of the Super Mario Brothers that also starred Albano as the pasta-loving plumber.
Never seen Mario eat pasta.
The theme song was an awful rap, but the jewel was the end credits, which were accompanied by Captain Lou singing his own song and teaching us how to, quote, do the Mario. Basically think like the Tootsie slide, but you only move your arms and take one step.
I love it.
Oh, it was so fun. It's such a guilty pleasure. I mean, it's awful, but it's fun.
It was so fun, and it still is so fun, because it's on, what is it, on Hulu or Netflix? It's on something. Yeah. I don't know. My kids have had a healthy diet of the Super Mario, or the Super Mario Super Show, and that it makes me happy that they got to enjoy that as well.
Oh, that's awesome. It's just a little time capsule of 80s nostalgia, really.
Oh, yeah. I actually went down 90s. my own old school nostalgia trip this week. I watched a big Defunct Land has this big documentary series on the whole career of Jim Henson, so that's what I've been diving into a lot. Yeah, 6 hours of his entire life and career, from the beginning of of the puppets, the puppet Sam that turned into Kermit all the way through to his funeral.
Yeah, if you guys want to see something fun of some old school Kermit, oh, I gotta try. I'm gonna have to try to look up and remember what the name is. But he was the spokesman for a coffee company. Was like his before Sesame Street or anything else, and basically it was just Kermit, just really Wilkins Coffee. Look up Wilkins Coffee or Kermit Wilkins Coffee and just hit the compilation, because Kermit's sitting there stabbing this guy, shooting him with a gun, electrocuting him, pushing him off walls, just anything that he can do, throwing hot coffee on him, lighting him on fire. Kermit's just a dick.
Oh, Kermit was a dick, even in the early days of Sesame Street. Even in the early days of Sesame Street, snapping off on Cookie Monster for acting like a child and all kinds of stuff. It's great stuff.
It is good stuff. It's fun. Oh, Kermit. Oh, speaking of Kermit,
it's so hard to believe that Dark Crystal and Labyrinth were two of his worst things he created, because they're so good.
What do you mean by worst?
They were the lowest points in his career.
Says who?
Says history. Those things did not do well till well later.
Oh yeah, they didn't make a lot of money, but that's because they were kids stuff that definitely was not aimed at kids.
Right. Well, it
was ahead of its time.
His whole thing was he wanted puppets to be more of a family and adult-oriented thing than a children's thing. That's why he was hesitant to do Sesame Street. Go watch the documentary series. Let's talk about some wrestling. Yes. It's time for us to snap into this week's Savage Sentinel. It's going to be fun. WWE's executive producer and chief of global television distribution, Kevin Dunn, sold 30,000 shares of Class A common stock on Thursday, December 3rd, according to a United States Securities and Exchange Commission filing by WWE. The 30,000 shares were priced at approximately $44.79 each, for a total of around $1,343,700. As we noted earlier this year, Dunn sold 33,000 shares of WWE stock on April 29th. That sale was worth around $1,500,180. He also sold another 21,809 shares on July 22nd for around $1,008,884. At the same time, WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon and other executives cashed in. This week's SEC filing notes Dunn still has 73,811 shares of WWE stock left, so be sure to be tuned in for more information on this riveting story.
It is interesting, though, at least business-wise. It's interesting when you see this kind of stuff go down. It just makes you wonder what they know that we don't know.
Right.
Or it could be anything. They might know.
It's weird seeing as I've been hearing lots about Triple H. He's ran Raw and SmackDown the last 3 weeks. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means for up higher. I don't know what that means for Vince's health. I don't know what that means for Pritchard's health.
Right.
But yeah, I think some things are really changing.
Well, I know they said that the opening segment of this week's Raw, or SmackDown, I don't know what it was.
Well, SmackDown aired an hour ago, so not
whichever one it was that Vince McMahon. Apparently, it was his call to do. They did an interview with Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, I guess.
Yeah, and then Bliss jumped into Randy Orton's arms when Fiend came out.
Apparently that was all Vince's call, and he pushed really hard for it. And most people backstage felt it was a poor opening skit and probably shouldn't even happen at all. And apparently, Vince was adamant about doing it. Put it on there. So. I don't know.
They're going to cuck the Fiend.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And Paystee, I really don't know what's going on in the mind of indie wrestler John Washington. He wrestles under the name Owen Travers. He's been arrested by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. The 33